Hi, this is E.T. U.S. politics, very angry today, did have its fevered moments years earlier. Do you remember reading about this? U.S. Representative Preston Brooks, a Democrat from South Carolina, in May of 1856, beat U.S. Senator Charles Sumner, who was at his seat in the Senate chamber, beat him with a cane, putting that abolitionist Republican Sumner out of business for 3 years. Now, more recently, on December 13 of 1950, muckraking journalist Drew Pearson had his own violent encounter at, believe it or not, his own birthday party. It was an affair hosted by a socialite, Mrs. Louise Ansbury. Now, she was noted for inviting eclectic mixes to her soirees. She said, and I'm quoting her, "I've always tried to ask people to dinner who have opposing viewpoints, and I never tell people in advance who else is coming to my parties." That opposing viewpoints party proved to be a mistake. It was at the fashionable Sulgrave Club in the District of Columbia, and it was a mistake because one of the guests was Wisconsin Senator Joseph McCarthy, who at the time was making headlines, identifying communists in the U.S. State Department. And that was during Democrat Harry Truman's administration. And that prompted the liberal Pearson to attack McCarthy in print and on radio and television. McCarthy, who, by the way, did not make it a habit to investigate Hollywood or other non-government organizations for employing communists, McCarthy did say in public that Pearson once employed an aide who was a communist, who was in fact later identified as one who sent information to Stalin's NKVD. That's a precursor to Russia's KGB. So the enmity between McCarthy and Pearson was white hot at this birthday party in 1950. Earlier, according to Pearson, McCarthy had told him, this was, I think, at a gridiron dinner, "Someday, Drew, I'm going to break your leg, but for the time being, I just wanted to say hello." Well, this evening at the party, McCarthy was drinking heavily. He was planted right next to Drew and Mrs. Pearson, and he told Mrs. Pearson that he'd be delivering a speech that would, as he put it, destroy Drew's career and their marriage. Pearson retorted with this, "Joe, how's your income tax case coming along? How long are they going to let you stay out of jail?" At that, McCarthy jumps up, and he pinched the back of Pearson's neck, and he said, "You come out now. We'll settle this." U.S. Representative Charles Bennett, disabled by polio, tried to intervene, but he fell. McCarthy then went to his aide to help him up, as Pearson walked away to the coat room. McCarthy cornered Pearson there, and he said, "Well, Drew, a pleasant evening, wasn't it?" Pearson reaches into his pocket. He's going to get his ticket. Then McCarthy doubled him up with groin kicks. Senator Richard Nixon, another guest, in 2 years, the next vice president, later in 1968, the U.S. president. Nixon intervened as McCarthy floored Pearson with a slap. Nixon grabbed McCarthy's arm, tried to pull him away. McCarthy says, "I'm not going to turn my back on that son of a bitch. He's got to go first." Well, Nixon finally got McCarthy outside, but it took 1/2 an hour to find McCarthy's car. He'd forgotten where he parked it. Needless to say, this was front page news the following morning. McCarthy said in print that he did slap and 5 groin knee kicks, and he later delivered a blistering attack against Pearson on the Senate floor, and 20-plus senators congratulated him later. And one, Senator Arthur Watkins, a Republican of Utah, said, "Joe, I've heard conflicting accounts of where you hit Pearson. I hope both of them are true." Pearson told reporters that McCarthy's punch was, and I'm quoting Pearson, about as effective as his Senate behavior. Nixon tells reporters, such foolishness should not be bandied about in times like these. But privately, Nixon said, McCarthy slapped Pearson extremely hard, and then I'm quoting here Nixon, if I had not pulled McCarthy away, he might have killed Pearson. So, unless Donald Trump breaks script and delivers a wedgie to Kamala Harris, this McCarthy and Pearson incident will stand as the most violent regarding a politician during the past 70-some years. Now, maybe you can think of another one. Whatever. That's the story. If you enjoyed it, tap the like icon and share this video. And do subscribe. Thank you.